guys and girls, my name's Dan, welcome back to The Forge. In today's episode we are going to be talking about riveting tongs together. I've got 3 different processes to show you to get the same result, well almost the same result. Anyway, okay, in this video I'm going to be making all of these tools to do your traditional snapped rivet, and I'm also going to go over how you can do a few hacks with a couple of bolts and stuff like that. So there's some good stuff in there, everything from the beginner to the middle of the road kind of person. Enjoy the video. I'm a lazy blacksmith. I like to get as much done cheaply and as effectively as possible. I don't always achieve that, sometimes I make a lot of mistakes, and I often go for long walks around the garden when I should. One way I have found of producing tongs where I don't have to mess around so much with manufacturing my own rivets, and I don't have to buy expensive rivets, is by using bolts. The bolts that I tend to use have very large shanks on them. The shank is the part of the bolt that isn't threaded. Bolts like this one here tend to be a reasonable quality steel. This is a, I think this is M12 and it's a grade 8.8 bolt. They seem to be a reasonable quality, and once they've been stripped of their galv finish, they're quite nice to forge and work with. They also are quite easy to get hold of. Most places that sell nuts and bolts will have something that you need for the job. So when you're happy with your finished rivet, you then need to cut it to length. Now I'm going to talk about length and what size rivets and stuff that you need to be using in a little bit. But for this, I'm just going to mark this up and just get this rivet closed and just show you how quick and simple this type of riveting can be. If you want to, rehearsing this process is also a good way to make sure that everything's going to go together. Just as you need it to. And as always, I'm on camera and I always seem to struggle to do these on camera. Okay, the other thing you want to be looking for is a hammer with a round face on. Alright, now I'm going to get a lot of them, but I tend to find the rounder hammer drives in that rivet as slightly more centrally than it would if you had a just a flat hammer. Alternatively, what you could do is use a piece of bar stock, which is at the right size for the hole for your rivet. We'll talk about that just now. A bolster plate, whereby you're using a much larger hole than the rivet is going to expand into, and that sets the height from the bottom of your bar stock to the back of the hinge plate on the bottom part of the tong, and then you use the same thickness of material, so we're talking somewhere in the region of 12 mils, so ½ inch. I'm going to have a bit of a guess on this one. Just going to mark that up there. And then I'm going to chop that off, get that hot, and do exactly the same process, but using a bolster plate. So we'll do that now. Okay, so I've got my piece of material cut off. Now there are a couple of golden rules when it comes to riveting, things that you should really think about if you're going to be riveting something together. For tongs, there are a few more rules as well. The first rule is, if you're hot riveting, you want the material that's exposed. So say you had like a normal rivet, so you've got the domed rivet side, then the part of the rivet that passes through whatever you're riveting together, and then the exposed side needs to be 1.5 times the diameter for the length. So if you've got an 8mm rivet, you need to add 4mm, so you need about 12mm in order to make the right size rivet. Now, again, being prepared is always the best policy when you're doing something like this. So I'm just going to flip this over, make sure that's touching down on this side on. We'll flip her over on the anvil this time. And just make sure it's tight. You're not going to get the rivet finished in one heat always. So I'm just going to make sure it's tight and everything's sitting nicely. So I'm going to go and put this back in the fire and get it hot again. The second thing you need to think about is what size rivet stock you want to be using. Now, these tongs come in at about 8 mil through their thickness. So somewhere between 8 to 10 mil is just about the right size for one of these sets of tongs. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make the tooling to do the riveting process a bit more formally, so without doing these cheap and nasty hacks. Not that they're nasty, they look pretty good, they do the job quite well. However, there is a way to do it properly, and we're going to try and talk about that now. So I've got some material here on the anvil that I'm going to use to make the tooling that we need. And one of the parts of the tooling is that we need to make a negative and a positive of each part of the tooling, so that we can, if we need to in the future, make more of it, but at the same time initially make it now. And you can use ball bearings to do this process. So the first thing that we're going to need to get is a square or round piece of material that you can drill a hole through, and then that's going to take our raw bar stock, which we can then use the headering tool to snap the rivet head over. I've made this tooling ever so slightly longer than I actually need for most of the tongs that I use it for. That's because I can use it to make other rivets in the future should I want to. Another rectangular piece of material here which I'm going to draw down so that it'll fit in my hardy, and then I'm going to bend it over, and this is going to be the bottom part of the riveting tool that's going to hold the rivet after it's been manufactured, the bottom part of the snap. And then what I've got here is two pieces of round. I've got this 25mm round or inch round, and I've got myself a piece of 22mm round, which I believe is 7/8. This one I'm going to forge down into 16 round, but just so that I've got something to hold, and then I'm going to grind a nice radius on there, and that's going to become our positive. And then I'm also going to use that positive to forge in a little dimple in the end of the 25 round. That's going to be our top. Okay, so what we have here now is all of our basic tools forged out, and they look quite good. I'm quite pleased with how they've come out. So the next step to do now is basically do a bit of dressing on some of the tooling. I've already dressed up the bolster. But what we can do, dress up the tooling, make sure that they work, and make sure all the bits that need to be rounded, and then what we'll do is then we'll reheat certain areas and do the forging. But for the negatives, I need to clear a bit of material out before we actually do that forging process, because what we'll just end up doing is just swelling up the objects really big, and they're just going to look ridiculous, and they probably won't work very well. Okay, so this is the part that sets the height of the actual rivet, and I have seen these where these have been ground or forged down so that they actually taper up into the middle, so all you have is the surface area present to get the actual head forged, and it doesn't go over that. So you can do that if you need to, but I'm not going to bother with this. And I'm going to be honest here with this, as I was bending this over, I was thinking to myself, oh my god, what have you made? It's absolutely hideous. However, it seems to have turned out quite nicely. I have dressed this face quite a bit there, but yeah, good day today. We're getting on quite well with these bits, so I'm going to get on with these now, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, let's have a go at doing a rivet. So what I'm going to do is exactly the same process to start with as with the this always goes wrong. As within the when we were riveting the tongs together with the bolt. We're basically just going to rivet that end over and get it started. Now, these get quite tight quite quickly in here, so the first thing you want to do is quench it off, and then grab a slightly smaller punch, or slightly a punch that's going to fit in the bottom at least. Anyway, give that a little tap, knock it free. Be careful about not marring this bottom end as well, because that'll cause you some problems too. And then that should have freed up the rivet, and it should come loose then. All right. Okay, I'm going to leave the heat in this one this time because I trust it not to get really jammed up in there. Just going to send that back down so it's nice and flat. So this has gone off on one angle ever so slightly. So I'm just going to get that to come over to this side, and then get the rip snap around the right way, Mr. Moss. And then a couple of good whacks with the snap. Should see you right. Now you'll start to know when you get in there, because the tooling will start hitting the heading tool. So, right, I'm going to take one more heat on that. It's taken me a long time to make this. So here's our rivet. It's come out okay. It's a little bit wonky, and could have had a bit more material there as well, I think. But I never have any luck doing these on camera, which is really irritating. Anyway, let's continue this run of bad luck and try and snap it onto the tongs. Okay, once again, it pays to be ready in these situations. So I'm going to get that rivet popped through. I'm going to flip that over, turn it over. I'm going to drop it into our bottom tooling. I'm going to hold onto the top one, round side my hammer, and I'm going to give that a nice whack. Flat side of the hammer. I've just got that rivet started, so I'm going to pop that back in the fire now. Okay, get it around the right way, Mr. Moss, good start. Take our snap then, and there we are, lovely jubbly. Okay, so I've got it all hot again, and I'm just giving it a good loosen up there. I'm going to straighten everything up. And these tongs are basically finished now, well, except from the fact that they need just the ends modifying and bits and bobs like that, but they are pretty much done. Okay, so I think I'm going to go one step further with this. I thought I was going to leave the video there, but I'm going to just try something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take an M8 bolt, which I'm going to initially forge round, and then I'm going to put it in the header, and then I'm going to take the snap, I'm going to pop the snap on top, round the head up that way and see how it looks. The other nice convenient thing is the shanks on these are 50mm. This tooling's 50mm. It gives me exactly the right length there. Okay, if like me, you often do the rivets so tight that you can't open the jaws, there is a bit of a way around it if you've made the same mistake that I have. Grab one half of the rein in the vise before you've set up the rein, and then just grab the opposite one. This way you can get a bit of pressure on the one side and get that rivet moving nicely. Alright? So just in case you do get stuck like I do quite a lot, that's one way around it. Also, if you are setting these nibs up, I've got a little trick there as well. Okay, get a reasonable amount of heat in the material it is that you're intending for the person that's buying them, or what you've made them for. Just grab the material in between the jaws and then jaw the vise. And pinch the vise really tight. Get that nice and tight on there. Then, once it's in the vise, you can do a few things now. You can set these reins up a little bit. And also, if you're not in the middle, like this one isn't, this doesn't run through the center here, you can grab a scrolling dog, which we'll be making shortly, and just give it a bit of a bend. Obviously, don't make too drastic of a change. And then if this rein needs moving ever so slightly like that, there we go. So I can just do some small adjustments while it's cooling down, and as it cools in there, it's actually going to contract and get nice and tight. Okay, so this final set of tongs turned out really lush. In fact, I quite like the process so much, I might start adopting that as a normal thing to do. I'm going to have to call it a night for these bits and bobs. Messed around with these a bit too long, as per normal. And this is part of, I'm going to try and get a video out, at least 5 videos out this week, but we'll see how we get on. I've said it now, I'm going to fail. Right, okay. Just quickly, before we move forward, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the tooling and some of the things that I think I've missed during the actual video. Firstly, why have I put this so close to this end? Well, the reason for that is I can put multiple snaps in here. If I went for a slightly bigger snap, probably a 10mm rivet, I'm probably only going to get one more in here, but still, this means this tooling's a bit more flexible. It does a few little jobs. I was actually thinking about putting a hole in here and turning it into a bolster, but I'm not 100% convinced that that's the best thing to do. When you come to make your tool in this end, make sure you put a rad on the end. That means if you're going to hit it and you're hitting it slightly off, instead of the flat face kicking over on you or whatever, especially if you're using them under a power hammer, the round face tends to transfer the energy a bit straighter. And this one's already starting to upset because these are all soft. So what I'm going to have to do is get this hot again and redress this. And that's also something important that you should really think about when you are doing any sort of tooling like this. Okay, I'd like to have a quick chat about the channel and things that are going on and stuff that I am doing at the minute. If you're not interested in that, this is probably the time that most of you leave anyway. Not everyone watches always to the end. So like, subscribe, share the video, drop comments down below, go check out the Etsy, go check out the Instagram. There's great stuff there for you to enjoy whilst I'm not making videos. So go and do that, and I'll see you guys and girls in the next one probably. If you're hanging around to listen to this bit, thank you. If you are someone that does like this information, this is, I guess I'm making this part of the video for you guys and girls that do listen. And one of the things that I'm going to try and do over the next couple of videos is, whilst I'm making tools, I want to talk about that ever so slightly as well. I'm going to talk about some of the processes I go through and some of the tooling and stuff that I make. This has been quite a good video because I learned something in this video, so that's quite nice. So yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to still try and make dedicated videos like the hold fast video and certain other bits and bobs, like the clamp of the month, and this is what this is for. This is the lead screw and the nuts for the clamp of the month. This is for the jewelry vise. If this works, it's what I'm going to be using on the leg vise, and that's the kind of information I'm going to stick in some of these vlog videos at the end. So if you want to get more stuff like this, hang around for that sort of information. If you have bought anything off the Etsy, or you're thinking about buying stuff off the Etsy, thank you. That's really amazing, and I haven't really been prepared for the most overwhelming support that you guys and girls at home have been giving. I, in return, would like to give back. I want to make as much content as possible. I want to make really nice tools. That's why I'm mixing it up a bit. So this week I'm going to be making some hammers, but hopefully I'm going to be working on a little project here. This package was sent from Tim from Big Dog Forge a while ago, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to use this in a project this week. And then I've got some other stuff that has come from some other peeps as well. I got this stuff from, I don't want to show you any addresses, I got this stuff from the Dirty Shed guys. If you don't know who the Dirty Shed guys are, the Shed Lencia. There are a couple of guys up north who have a, well, there's a shed and there's two blokes and they make videos. One's a videographer and the other guy's just a handy bloke with his hands. So I'm going to be doing some work with some of those projects and trying to get it all included. I'm going to be carrying on doing the stay home, stay safe, stay blacksmithing kits as well. I think I'm going to leave it there. Definitely going to be sorting out some other projects as well to go in the mix with the slightly vloggy stuff. I've tried vloggy stuff before. I don't think it was very interesting because a lot of what I was doing was just sort of like boring rubbish that I don't really think you guys are interested in. However, if I can make a bit of content to bolt on to a little bit of day-to-day living and whatnot, then I hope that's going to work out pretty nice. Like the other thing I've been doing today is I've been getting coke because I'm scared to death that I'm going to run out of the stuff. And also I've been working on sorting out the cable for the kits. So loads of stuff going on, and if you are waiting for stuff, thank you once again. I'm going to leave the video there. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you are a subscriber, make sure you ring that bell for notifications because it tells you every time I make a video. I try to make videos as often as possible. I'm really trying to push it in a minute because this is turning into a great thing and I'm really, really busy, which is really nice. I do think it's because of the circumstances, but however, we'll see how we go. If you do want to support the channel, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can share this video, you can leave a comment, and you can leave a like on this video. In the description, there's a link to my website, Etsy, and also the Instagram. Go and check those out. I post quite regularly on the Instagram. Sometimes when I'm busy like this, I find it a little bit harder to do stuff like that. Okay, that's everything. Thank you for joining me. I'll leave a link up here to a video that YouTube thinks you'll like. This is a link to the most recent video, and this one down here is a random one that I've picked. So I have no idea what it's going to be yet, and then there'll be a subscribe button on my face. So see you later. Bye-bye.